Of course, Nick Sirianni brought to us by, as he is every Tuesday at this time, by Bud Light. Pre-game with Ava Graham at Saloon 151 in Westchester this Sunday before the next game. Of course, next Eagles game. Win tickets to a home game and Eagles merchandise. The aforementioned 4-2 head coach of the Birds, Nick Sirianni. Good morning, Nick.
Hey, good morning, guys.
Good morning,
Hi,
Nick.
Coach.
So, Nick, a moment like that, Saquon reacting that way, we heard you post-game fired up. I mean, what he has brought to this team, if you could just talk about, holy mackerel, on the field, off the field, I mean, he just seems like a superstar player and human.
Yeah, he's a like before you even talk about the play, you just talk about the teammate, the person, the work that he puts in. There's a reason he is who he is, right? Success is not an accident, and you see it firsthand. But great teammate. You heard it right there. Had an opportunity to set his career high of rushing yards, probably against a team that he really wanted to do it against. And wanted the other guys to go out there and finish the job and get their carries and get their touches. So that speaks a lot about him. Obviously, his play thus far this season has been awesome as advertised. He really broke out in last game and really had a play that helped us break out on offense that got us going. And just can't say enough about the person, can't say enough about the player. Can't tell you how thrilled I am that he's an Eagle.
Nick, let's talk about this win in the context of you. And I am going to predict that your answer is going to be no, but I'm going to ask the question because I'm fascinated. Did this win mean more to you personally? Not for the team's record, which we know a win is a win, but on a personal level, when you're in the eye of the storm like you were last week, does it mean more for you when you get a win in that context?
Yeah, you guessed it. No, it's every game's so important. Every game is just like is we're going out there and putting everything we have. It's such a unique sport because you put everything you have into it for an entire week. It's a lot of work that goes into it by a lot of different people, and you're obviously devastated every time you lose, and when you win, you're thrilled. And then it moves on to the next one. And so you always try to stay in the moment. Always want our players to think, hey, how do I be in this moment? How can I control the things I can control? And that's my work and that's my attitude. And that was the only thing that was focused on, and I know our team was as well.
Well, how does it make you feel that your team showed the world that they have your back on Sunday?
Sure. I mean, those are things during your all the relationships that you put in and all the time that you put into connecting and being part of a team. I think that this team has each other's back, right? Forget my back. This team has each other's back. And that's because all the time they spend together. I through practice, through hanging out together, through off the field, through on the field, competing against each other. And that's something that you're always trying, and that's what's so cool. Each and every year is you're trying to gel the team together, and that's what your hope is, because you just want to make sure you're playing better football as you continually go through the year, and the team and the connection is a big part of that. And so, I just felt like it was a good week for us. We had our best week of practice. And
it was a second turnover-free game for Jaylen back-to-back. Why exactly was Jaylen turning it over less? That was great to see.
Yeah, I obviously have a big emphasis on that, and Jaylen's playing good football and taking care of the football. It's really you talk every week about the double positive. We talk about that every week. Did we win the explosive play battle? And did we win the turnover battle? Well, for the ball carriers, the guys, like Saquon and AJ and Kenny Gainwell, like when they get the ball in their hands, that's what they have to think of, is how do I secure this ball? How do I, all those different things. Well, Jaylen is responsible for creating explosive plays and taking care of the football as, oh, by the way, these 300-pound guys and Dexter Lawrence, 300 or whatever, he's huge. Is trying to come down and crush him while he's trying to read a defense who's trying to deceive you. So his job is really difficult as far as in any quarter and all the quarterbacks. The quarterbacks are one of the hardest positions to play in all sports, in my opinion, the hardest position to play in all sports. And so, we want to be explosive, which we were, and we want to take care of the football, which we were. And they're when we are able to do that, I know so much is put on them when we have a turnover. But when we're able to play turnover free, I mean, that's so much credit goes. It's a team sport, but so much credit goes to Jaylen because of all the things he's asked to do on each and individual play. So I can't tell you how pleased I am with him and how he's taking care of the football. And you're only as good as your next game. So we're on that next game and seeing how Cincinnati takes it away and what we got to do to protect it against them as well.
Nick Sirianni here, as he is every Tuesday at this time. Nick, let's talk about two first-half moments that I thought were tone setters, and I just loved it. The Saquon run on your first possession, he doesn't get the first down, but he does everything he possibly can to get as close to it. It reminded me of Walter Payton. He's just banging through dudes. It was incredible. Mm-hmm. And then Cooper DeJean, basically the same kind of thing on a punt return. I mean, it was just awesome. Can you describe what that does for a sideline when they see their teammates fighting like that?
Yeah, I mean, that's something that I know this team is physically tough, right? And I know that we're mentally tough, and I know we play with relentless effort. You're always talking about identity and what our identity is as a football team. And one thing I know is that I know this is a close team, and I know this is a team that is just a physically tough team. Mm-hmm. And we talk about that. Where can you put your physical toughness on display? Well, you put your physical toughness on display, when you have a combination block to the linebacker. You put your toughness on display. There's a play where the tight end slices across and tries to block BG, and he knocks him back and puts him into the ball carrier. Put your physical toughness on display with how you tackle. Well, as a ball carrier, the running back, puts his toughness on display when he has the ball in his hands and what he does on the sideline. Some guys will step out of bounds and some guys will, put their shoulder down and finish a job for extra yards. And that is, and AJ had one like that too. It wasn't like where he had to lower his shoulder, but they were ripping at the ball and he got 5 extra yards. And so, those are when you pride yourself in being a physically tough team, those are things that really, they're going to be shown in the team meeting on Monday. And those are things that really get the sideline pumped because it's like, hey, I mean, this man tried to tackle that man and he got pushed back. And that's what's so awesome about this game is, man versus man and Saquon and Coop on the sideline finished and got extra yards. And, Saquon got about 5 extra yards. I think Coop got about 10 extra yards. That's a whole first down. That's a big deal. And so we talk about that a lot, and obviously it brings a ton of excitement. I think even when the defensive guy does it, it brings more excitement, right? Because defensive guys don't have the ball a lot. When you watch Coop's return, you look at the sideline, and I see Slay jump off the bench and just sprint over to it. And it for whatever reason, it brings a lot of excitement. I really wish Saquon's hit on the sideline was on our sideline. I think it would have brought the house down there, but it was on the opposite sideline. But, it's a great question because it does bring a ton of energy and juice to the sideline.
Nick, what's one thing you can do differently offensively this week to focus on starting faster?
Yeah, obviously that's a big, that's a big thought process for us, and we're dedicated to do everything we can possibly do to score early, score in the first quarter. We'd love to score on that first drive, and so those are things that you go through throughout the week, and you want to do plays that you feel like have the best chance to succeed, so you can get started fast. Every game's a little bit different, and one thing that you think is going to work, the defense's focus is on, and then you got to adjust. I think it's just what do we do to start fast, and again, like I said, I can't give away all the secrets that we're searching, right? We're searching for it because we haven't been good. It's been 6 games and we haven't scored in the first quarter. So that's always going to be us as coaches putting them in positions to succeed, and then the players executing. And so, that's going to be on our mind. Our first and second down plan will be on our mind, and then we're going to, just like always, we're going to talk about, which ones of those first and second down plan plays can go in there for the openers to ensure that we get off to a hot start.
Nick, similar question, but flipping it to the other side of the ball. What about turnover generation. I don't know if that's the right phrase, but generating turnovers defensively. I mean, you've had 3 phenomenal defensive performances this year at the Saints, obviously the Browns game and the Giants game. But for the totality of the season, 6 games, only 2 turnovers created. And that hasn't gotten as much discussion by us as the offense. How do you get that going?
Yeah, it's just got to constantly be on your mind. I thought we had a really good week of practice last week as far as taking it away. And, that's something that, I take a lot of pride in when the ball is, with every team meeting that we're in, we're focusing on that. And so, having that same focus when we're over there on defensive side, and as myself as the head coach, focusing on that as well. So we put a lot of emphasis in there, and we had a lot of turnovers at practice. But this week it did. We had one come out. Jaylen forced a fumble. We had one on an interception. I'm not sure Daniel Jones would have thrown that ball if he didn't know that we were offsides there. But I think that our mindset's in the right place. Practices look right, and I kind of compare that sometimes to sacks, where it just kind of, it blows open when it blows open. Like obviously these last 2 weeks with our sacks, we've generated a lot of sacks, and we're putting in the work to ensure that we have some success here. But make no mistake about it, we got to coach it better and we got to execute it better, because we got to take the football away, and that's a big emphasis that we're thinking about. And sometimes, I think you can think about that and sacrifice the tackle. You can do both. You can be a sound team tackling while also taking the football away. And that was, we've made some major strides in our tackling. I think they showed me the stat. We were 7th in the NFL before last night on missed tackles. And so, it's got to be the same emphasis there on the ball.
Nick, are we a running football team?
Damn right.
Yes.
I think I think you saw that anytime you go over 200 yards rushing, you can say that for sure. I think that we've been able to run. Since I've been here, we've been able to run the football efficiently. And it goes in ebbs and flows, right? You know how it goes. Sometimes the box is stacked, and you got to be able to throw it. Mm-hmm. And I have so much faith in our in Jaylen and our receivers and our tight ends, and to be able to do that when we need to. But in this game, all right, you do what you need to do to win the football game, right? And that's in this game, it was about the running game. And I don't know where we are ranked in the league. I would assume we're pretty high after, but anytime you go over that 200-yard mark, and I don't know how many times we've done that since I've been here. It feels like a lot, but it's just this great feeling when you're able to do that. And so I think we can. I said you're right, definitely. We're a running team, but we have the ability to do both things, and the game will dictate that. And we'll try to dictate that. Like you're on offense for a reason, so to try to dictate things at to the defense. So. But I'm so confident in our offensive line. Right? I didn't even talk about them. Like they're regardless of what level of football you play, the games are won and lost up. It starts up front. And I can't say enough about our offensive line. Lane Johnson, one of the best players in the NFL, one of the best players I've ever coached. That's for sure. Landon Dickerson. What a great player, Cam, and then the guys that stepped in, like Fred, Makai's playing really good, and then Fred Johnson steps in and has a nice game. Tyler Steen steps in and has a nice game, and it just feels like, obviously this game presents itself with injuries, and it just feels like here I can't say enough good things about our offensive line and how he's put together the team. And we've had guys step in an offensive line and win big games throughout my tenure here. A lot of credit goes to Jeff Stalin. All the credit goes to the guys, though, of how they prepare and get themselves ready. And so when you got the guys that we have in the room, you can definitely run the football.
Nick, congratulations. 2 wins in a row, and we look forward to seeing you guys Sunday in Cincinnati. Good luck in that ball game,
John,
Nick.
Hey, and John, we played some fullback football.
I saw. That's awesome. Lead ISO all day, baby. Blow them up.
All right.
Stay well, Nick.
Awesome.
All right, say Nick.
Thanks, Nick.
All right, Eagles head coach Nick Sirianni. 215-592 94.94 to react to that. We also got yet another faux Times Yours, the Conklin version of Times Yours, where he goes into the voice of, I don't know, 1 million people. Well, in this case, it won't be 1 million calls, but it'll be a bunch. Conklin, one of his specialties, and more calls as well. Your reaction to Sirianni there on 94 WIP.